Okay, so let's jump right into tonight's topic, which is making macro tracking easier while at the same time accepting the fact that flexible dieting isn't a free pass to eat whatever you want whenever you want. Um, so macro tracking macros, IIFYM, if it fits your macros, whatever name you want to call it, it has been very, very popular here in North America for about 10, 11, 12 years, like for a very, very long time. People know what tracking macros are. In Brazil, not so much. In Brazil, probably a couple of years ago, and people still have that stigma that flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros, is really bad for you. It's just a free pass to eat junk food, and it's not like that at all. Um, when did it start? Like, I'm just going to give a quick background, just to give some context on why I'm talking about this today. Um, so, if fits or macros really started to become more popular after bodybuilders in the bodybuilding community, right? In the bodybuilding community, it is very common to have meal, like very, very strict meal plans, right? Like tilapia with almonds and chicken and rice and broccoli and whatever. And you have like 6 meals a day, and that's it. You eat pretty much the same five foods for as long as you're dieting until you reach your goal, and that's it. Like whatever you eat outside of that strict meal plan, you're basically cheating on your diet, right? It's wrong. You're not supposed to eat that. You're only supposed to eat clean all the time. And outside of the bodybuilding world, like it became very popular to have similar meal plans to the bodybuilders, because if there's a population that understands how to manage their physique, how to transform their physique, it's the bodybuilders, right? Even in the name, like body building, like they know how to build their bodies, right? So people started pretty much copying diets from the bodybuilders, and it became a mindset, it became a belief that if you wanted to lose weight, if you wanted to get lean and shredded, that's what you needed to do. Like, that's it. And once people started, like some bodybuilders again started spreading the macro approach, like IIFYM, if it fits your macros approach, like posting on social media that they're eating Pop Tarts and they're still looking shredded, eating whatever junk and they're still looking amazing and whatever, then it became more popular as well. But at the same time, it gave flexible diet a very bad rap, because people assumed that because you're tracking macros, if it fits your macros, you can just eat whatever as long as it fits your macros and it doesn't matter. From a physique standpoint, in terms of losing body fat and gaining muscle, yes, that is true. It doesn't really matter what you eat, to a degree. Okay, so pay attention to this. It doesn't really matter what you eat to a degree. I'm not saying that it doesn't at all, but I'm just saying that if you're wanting to change your body composition, what matters most is the quantity of what you eat, is the relationship between energy in and energy out, right? However, what what you eat, the quality of the foods that you choose, also impacts how much you're going to eat. So it's an intertwined relationship, right? You can choose to have 30 grams of carbs by eating 2 slices of white bread, or you can choose to have 30 grams of carbs from sweet potato. The difference, the sweet potato is going to give you more fiber, is going to give you more vitamins and minerals and things that are going to be very, very good for your body, for your gut health, for digestion in general, energy levels, and etc. It's not a magical food. It's just more nutritiously dense more nutritiously rich than 2 slices of white bread. It doesn't make 2 slices of white bread bad, but like if you're comparing the nutritious value of both, even though they both contain 30 grams of carbs and would technically fit within your macros the same way, their composition is different, and it's going to give your body different types of fuel, for that matter, which will in return make you feel differently. So 2 slices of bread is not going to fill you out as much as 100 grams or 120 grams of sweet potatoes. After you're eating 120 grams of sweet potatoes, like you're going to feel full and satiated. It's going to take a long time to digest because of the fibers. Whereas when you're eating 2 slices of white bread, you just like inhale that, and 2 seconds after, you're starving, right? It's not going to fill you up as much. Again, both 30 grams of carbs. What difference does it make digestion wise, and how long it takes to be digested within your body? Well, when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit, right? You're eating less energy than your body is putting out. So there's going to be a gap there. There's going to be a deficit there. And whenever there's that gap, your body is going to react to that by telling you, by increasing your hunger and telling you that you need to eat more, right? So you kind of have to trick your body into believing that you're having more food, like into utilizing foods that will help you not feel as hungry all the time. If you can deal with the hunger, no problem, by all means. But you're going to notice that as the lower your macros get, the longer you are into a deficit, the harder it becomes for you to deal with that hunger, right? So you have to use those volume foods to fit your macros and also keep you full and satiated, and kind of trick your body into believing that you're having more food than you actually are, because you are having more volume food, like in total volume, but even though it's giving you the same amount of macros and the same amount of calories, okay? So I kind of lost track where I was going with this. But I was just comparing nutritious versus non-nutritious. It doesn't make one or the other better. But once you start tracking, you kind of start noticing the difference, and you start noticing the difference in how it makes you feel. And that's another thing that I wanted to touch on as well. If you're tracking macros just for the sake of logging into MyFitnessPal and you're just going with the flow, you're not really paying attention to what you're eating, how you're feeling before you're eating, you're not really being mindful when you're eating, like you're not chewing your food properly, you're not being present, you're not paying attention to what kinds of foods you're selecting, and you're not paying attention to how you're feeling after you eat, that's a sign that you probably need to make some changes in how you approach this. Because tracking, like, to start with, tracking macros is just a tool. Okay, it's not a diet, it's just a tool for you to create your own meal plan. Remember, I now remember where I was going with this. Instead of using macro tracking to just track your intake, instead of using macro tracking to just make sure that you log into MyFitnessPal and that you have your food diary filled out, we're utilizing this tool to make sure that you have enough flexibility to choose the foods that you want. Like, by all means, if you want to here and there have your white bread, have your slice of pizza, your piece of chocolate, you can incorporate that even on a daily basis if you want to, because it really depends on how much of those things you're eating, right? In comparison to how much of whole foods you're eating. But you really need to start being, and I've seen like people really lacking in this area, being more intentional with tracking your macros. From my perspective, in my point of view, and we've even discussed this on yesterday's call, you have to plan ahead to start with, right? You have to plan ahead. And when you plan ahead, you start putting intention. What's your intention behind macro tracking in the first place? My belief, like what I how I view it, how I view flexible dieting is just a way, is just a tool for you to create your own meal plan. Okay? But you still have to have some kind of structure. And that's something that some of you are missing. Structure, planning. Okay? If I were to give you a meal plan, a ready to go meal plan, hey, just eat this, you would have probably just, measure everything and eat everything and just, it's really easy, right? It is really easy, but you're not learning anything. You're not learning anything. This is not what I believe, right? Meal plans can be useful for some people at some periods of their lives. Yes, it can. But it's not going to teach you anything. You're just copy and pasting, copy and pasting. And then once we're done working together, how you're going to eat after, right? How you're going to follow your meal plan on the weekends, how you're going to follow your meal plan on a vacation or on days that something came up. You have to have the knowledge to make choices based on um based on what you know about food, based on what you know about your body, based on about what you know about how those certain types of foods is going to make you feel. Like, you have to be able to make decisions for yourself. You have to be able to learn through the process, right? My most successful clients, the most successful of you guys, are the ones who are being intentional behind their trekking. They're not just logging into MyFitnessPal as they go. They plan their meals ahead of time. They pre-log their meals in MyFitnessPal. They want to eat something that they're craving. They plug it into MyFitnessPal to see if it fits their budget. It's just like working with a financial budget. You don't just spend as you go. Like, you just don't, like, you have to have a plan, especially because you have a goal, right? Some of you guys are working with me for 3 months, 6 months, for 9 months, for 1 year, even 1 year plus. And my most successful clients, they are able to stay consistent. They created a structure for themselves. And by creating a structure, by creating your own meal plan, by learning how to be intentional behind your tracking, you learn also to implement and to utilize flexibility when needed. Because I see some people, they're just, oh, okay, if I can track alcohol, so I'm just going to eat all of my carbs from alcohol. What the hell do you think you're learning through this process? Right? This is about reaching your physique goal, but this is also about learning throughout the process, because I want you to be able to, once we're done working together, I want you to be able to sustain the result that you got, and not to sustain necessarily tracking macros and utilizing MyFitnessPal, because you don't have to. Again, I'll emphasize this. Tracking macros using MyFitnessPal should be used for a short period of time to help you structure your meals to reach your goal. And during the process, if you're doing this intentionally, if you're doing this the right way, you're going to learn so much about food. You're going to learn so much. You're going to learn that peanut butter is not a protein source. You're going to learn that 100 grams of protein is 100 grams of chicken breast gives you 30 grams of protein. It doesn't mean that because you're eating 100 grams of chicken breast, you're eating 100 grams of protein, right? You're going to learn that some foods have a little bit, give you protein, but also give you some fats. You're going to learn to balance things out a little bit better. And by the end of it, it's your choice whether you want to keep tracking your macros on MyFitnessPal, whether you don't want to. But I want you to have the knowledge at the end to be able to choose. I want you to have the knowledge to, even if you don't have your phone with you, even if you don't have access to MyFitnessPal, to a kitchen scale, to anything like that, I want you to be able to make better food choices based on what you learned. I want you to be able to identify, look at a plate and identify, okay, this is protein, these are my veggies, these are my carbs, these are my fats. Okay, so I'm gonna choose this or that because this or that. I know that these kinds of foods, this combination of food fits better in my body. I feel better. I am more energized. I'm going to have a slice of pizza later, but I'm going to make sure that I have my nutrients in right now. That way you can just live your life in a balanced way. Because the truth is, whether you are in a fat loss phase, in a body recomp phase, body recomposition phase, or if you are now at a muscle building phase, those are physique goals, right? Once we reach that physique goal, it's your choice what to do next. But ideally, you should not be dieting for the majority of the year. You should not be dieting forever. By dieting, I mean eating in a calorie deficit, always trying to lose fat. Your body is supposed to be in maintenance, homeostasis. The same amount that you put in is the same amount that you put out energy wise, right? That's the beauty of it. And you can maintain it even not tracking, eating more intuitively. But you have to go through this period where you're a little bit more structured, where you're a little bit more intentional, where you have to push through those uncomfortable moments of, oh, I got to log this in. I got to plan my meals. I got to cook my meals. I got to make sure that I have protein. You got to go through that period of time first. Because otherwise, you're not going to be able to maintain what you got. It's just like those people who won the lottery. They've always been poor. They don't know how to manage money, and they all of a sudden win the lottery and they're millionaires. And 1 year later, they're poor again. There's a mindset component to it, yes, but the fact that they just won it, the fact that they didn't go through the process of failing and succeeding and learning and trying and really learning the process of making that amount of money, now they don't know how to deal with that amount of money. They don't know how to maintain it, right? They're not prepared for it. Same thing with your body. Same thing with your body. You're not going to know how to maintain the body composition that you want if you don't go through the process of getting there, if you don't focus on the process of getting there. Okay. And again, comparing with meal plans, it would be a lot easier for me to just create a bunch of meal plans. Hey, here's what you're going to eat. Good luck. But this is not my line of work because this is not what I believe in. I want you to sustain your results. I want you to learn through the process more and more and more. And you're not going to do that through meal planning. Now, here's the tricky part. I don't offer meal plans because I don't want to tell you what you should eat. I want you to build your own meal plan because I want you to choose what you want to eat. We all have different tastes. We all have different preferences. We all have different things and combinations of foods that we like and dislike. We all have very different digestion systems and stuff. And we absorb foods in a different way. So I cannot just tell you what to eat. You have to be able to learn how to make your own choices, select your foods, and build your own meal plan. And it's the same thing. Hold on just one second here. I don't want to sound too repetitive here, but I cannot emphasize this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Planning is key. Okay. And this comes from me and from my most successful clients again. Okay. So the people that are thriving, the people who are getting amazing results, and the people who are not stressed out about hitting their macros, they're planning ahead. They've learned how to grocery shop. They've learned to structure their meals. They learned to choose the best foods for themselves. They learned to ask for help whenever they needed. They learned how to utilize MyFitnessPal. They got resourceful. I give you all the resources, all the tools, everything I give you. But you got to get resourceful as well. You got to get resourceful and look for solutions instead of looking for problems, instead of marinating yourself in problems, and just like break up with the idea of the feel like mentality. I'll eat whenever I feel like. I'll log in MyFitnessPal whenever I feel like. I'll do my workouts whenever I feel like. Guys, you guys paid to be in this program. You guys paid to get results and to learn how to maintain those results. So you guys gotta get to work. It requires work. It requires effort. Upfront. Okay, upfront. Once you learn how to meal plan, grocery shop, structure your meals, log everything in MyFitnessPal in advance, then the rest of your week, it's gonna go as like a breeze. It's just gonna be so much easier. Freedom lies in structure, routine, and discipline. The more disciplined you are, the more structured you are, the more routine you have, the more flexibility you're gonna have actually, because you're gonna have less stress, less decision-making process, and you can even incorporate the things that you like. So the more because you plan ahead, you can also plan the things that you love, right? You can also plan for the foods that you like. You can also plan for the moments that you like. So when you're at the moment, you're not thinking about anything, you're just enjoying it because you've already planned for that moment, right? And that's what I call the structured flexibility. That's it. So structured flexibility. You cannot think that just by logging as you go, you're going to be able to hit your goals, because you're not. Okay, you're completely wrong. You have to plan ahead. You have to have some kind of structure. And the option is to have a hard set, restrictive meal plan, a meal plan based on maybe my food choices. And that's it. You don't learn anything. You're eating boring foods. And maybe you hit your goal, maybe not, because you cannot follow that meal plan during the weekends. You can't follow that meal plan on situations that are out of the ordinary, which happens all the time, especially now, summertime, fall, whatever. Life is always happening. So Wouldn't it be much, much better if you learned how to do this properly upfront, plan ahead, put everything in, pick and choose your favorite foods, learn how to structure your meals. It is uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like routine. I don't like to eat the same things. Have you even tried? Like, you're in charge. You're in charge. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is utilize the resources that I have available for you, not only in the Google Drive, but there's also some older resource guides in the Facebook group. When you go under files, you're going to be able to find some food lists just to give you some guidance. But it's not gonna be super, super out of this world. Just pick and choose your protein sources, your fat sources, your carb sources, your veggies, your fruits, and start plugging into MyFitnessPal. You don't have to eat exactly the same thing every single day, but if you have one or two meals that are already like that you love, again, you are choosing it. You can create delicious meals and make it a staple and just follow that every day, right? So if you have one or two meals that you really love and you put it in MyFitnessPal, you put it in your meal plan there, and the other two, three, or four meals that you have on that day, you just use what you have in your fridge. One thing that I like to do, and it works for some people, it doesn't for others. Like, we all meal plan differently. I do have a meal plan guide inside the Google Drive. So if you go into Google Drive, must read guides, you're going to find there. Um, but we all meal prep differently because we all have different schedules, preferences, and etc. What I find it works for myself is for myself personally is to cook in bulk, different options for each macro. So I have like two or three protein sources ready to go, ready to eat in the fridge, and a little bit in the freezer just in case. Then I have two or three carb sources ready to eat in the fridge, in the freezer as well. And fats are the easiest ones. So I just make sure that I always have nuts, olive oils, seeds, avocado, peanut butter, things like that, butter. So it's super easy. Once you have all of those foods in your pantry, in your fridge, in your freezer, once you're prepared, then it's just so easy. Then I just go and measure everything, put it on my plate, put it on the scale, weigh and measure, log it in MyFitnessPal, boom, done. Super, super easy. Um, for others, it works better if they already have their meals in a Tupperware container. So it's just, they just grab and go, they just grab and eat. So you do what works best for you, but it will require a little bit of effort upfront. So cooking in bulk, your main sources of protein, I highly, highly recommend having that, because let's be honest, carbs, veggies, fats, those things are really easy to, like, in a 5-minute thing. You have like broccoli cooked in the microwave, you have rice, you have potato, you have like rice cake, you have bread, you have like more options that are quick and easy, as opposed to protein. Protein takes a little bit more time, but again, like chicken breast, ground beef, tilapia, other cuts of maybe tuna, tilapia, things like that. They don't require too much time, and you can make them all at once in bulk again, and have them ready in the fridge, and in the freezer for whenever you need them. It's just easier that way. And then things like tuna, protein powder, fat-free Greek yogurt, egg whites, those things are also staple. Like, I always have them handy because first of all, two eggs offers you basically very, very little protein. So if you're telling me, oh, I have my protein and I ate two eggs in the morning, two eggs in the morning is like 12 grams of protein. You need at least 25 to 30. So you got to add egg whites. And the best way to do that is to buy egg white containers separately, and just liquid egg whites, and just add them in. Same thing with with tuna, with cheeses, like look up for cottage cheese, zero fat. Greek yogurt is a staple because you can mix it with protein powder as well. Like, so it's very, very simple. The more you simplify, the easier it will be to follow. And again, you are in charge. Most of the times people are in their own way. Oh, I just don't want to eat the same thing over and over, so I don't meal prep at all. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you don't have to. Like, meal prepping, meal planning doesn't mean that you have to eat the exact same things every single day. And you have never given this a chance to start with. You have never even tried to maybe incorporate 2 or 3 meals that you really like, that gives you the nutrients that you need, that fits your macros. And then you have flexibility on the other meals. Like, you don't necessarily have to eat the same exact thing, but you'd be surprised that it's not as boring as it sounds, because you are in charge. Again, you're choosing what to eat. So just choose things like protein sources that you like, carb sources that you like, fat sources that you like, mix and match with different vegetables, with different seasonings, and you're going to be fine. So get out of your own way, and start meal prepping, start meal planning, start setting, like scheduling a day for grocery shopping, so you don't run out of the essentials, so you can hit your macros. I know that a lot of people have a very, very busy schedule, but I know that some people think that they are busy, but they're really not that busy if they organize themselves. So the more organized you are, the more you use your calendar, the more you plan ahead, the less you use your phone for scrolling on social media, the more you're going to get things done, right? So yeah, I think that's it for today in terms of macro tracking. Um, because one of the things that people ask me the most is, how do I hit my macros? What foods do I choose? Like, utilize the resources that I provided. Make a list of the foods that you like. Start logging into MyFitnessPal, the protein sources that you like. Cook them in bulk. Go back and forth in MyFitnessPal. Like, when you're logging in food diary, then you got to go to the nutritional information and see what's left, so you can adjust the quantities. It's a back and forth thing, to make sure that you're having everything you need. But another tip, let me just open up a file here. Where is it? Here. It makes things easier. So, okay, most of you, well, pretty much all of you are also strength training, right? You have at least one workout every other day, right? 3 workouts per week. So for those days, your main meals, like start planning your meals around your workout. That's the easiest, that's the best tip that I can do, that I don't think I talk about too much, because in the grand scheme of things, what matters most is the total amount that you eat on a daily basis, right? And I don't want to overcomplicate things right off the bat. I like to try to simplify as much as I can in the beginning, to make it like bite-sized chunks of information, one thing at a time, to make it easier. But even though the total amount is what matters most, if you start planning your day based off on your workout time and what kinds of meals you're going to eat around your workout, it makes it easier to plan the rest of the meals, right? And if you don't know this, your post-workout meal is probably the most important meal of your day, especially if you're going all in at the gym. Like if you're lifting heavy weights, if you're pushing yourself hard, if you're a woman, you need a post workout meal that combines a protein source, that combines a carb source, at least, again, 25 to 30 grams of protein. That would be a good range for most people. For guys, probably more. And for carbs, initially around the same, but as things get more refined, as we advance, we're gonna fine tune that a little bit more in terms of quantity. But what is important for you to keep in mind is that you have to eat after your workout. You don't have to eat right after your workout, like, oh, I'm having my protein shake in my like, no, you don't have to, but you have to eat a combination of protein and carbs at least around like tops 2 hours after your workout, to make sure that you're giving your body the fuel that it needs to recover properly, to rebuild those muscle fibers that you broke during your workout. Okay, so the workout is like the trigger for your body to make adaptations to that training. But the nutrition portion, like what you eat after, is what really is going to help your body make that adaptation by getting stronger, by rebuilding itself. And you're going to feel better as well. You're going to feel your recovery being better. You're going to feel better in general. So eat right after a workout. If you can, also make a pre-workout meal. Again, protein and carbs, a combination of both. It doesn't have to be like a super heavy meal. I've seen people complaining, oh, I can't lift with too much food in my stomach. Like, you don't have to eat too much food in your stomach. Like, you can have a piece of bread and, I don't know, some peanut butter, or even like rice cake with, I don't know, some whey protein or some protein beverage or something like that, like something kind of light on your stomach. And again, it doesn't have to be right before. 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, it depends on where you are in your journey. The longer you are in a calorie deficit, the leaner you are, um, probably the closest you're going to want to eat to your workouts. When I was deep into my competition prep and I was getting leaner and leaner and leaner, and my calories were lower, I was eating like half an hour before my workout, to make sure that I had enough energy, enough fuel to hit the gym. And then as soon as I got home, post-workout meal. Like, that's the most important thing. And that's also the best time if you want to include that sweet treat that you have been craving, that scoop of ice cream or that piece of chocolate or that piece of cookie, something that you've been craving after your workouts. That's the best time to do that. But you have to make sure that you have your protein and carbs as well. Okay, so when you start planning your meals around your workout time, it usually makes things easier. Okay, and then you start every meal, you start planning every meal by thinking about what protein source you're going to use, and then what carb source, and then what fat sources. Okay, and you can rotate the different sources of fats, different sources of fruits, veggies, carbs. Like, it's a good idea to have a good variety of nutrients. And like, as you guys probably see on my stories, I eat very similar every single day, but like sometimes I put I choose to use like Brazil nuts and almonds on my oatmeal. Sometimes I choose to put peanut butter. Sometimes I choose to put coconut. Sometimes I choose to put, I don't know, flax seeds. I'm always rotating and using different fat sources just because it's good for my body. It's good to have that variety of nutrients. The base is still the same, so it doesn't require a lot of thinking. The base is still, the foundation is still the same, so it doesn't change that much. Same thing with my breakfast, same thing with my lunch. Like pretty much the same, but I choose different sources that gives a different taste. And I make sure that I season everything very well, like salt, pepper, garlic, onion, um, paprika. I like to use paprika, things like that. Like my food tastes really, really good. Like even my rice, like white rice, it's not bland. I use garlic, I use salt. It tastes good. So even though I eat the same foods every day, I crave those foods every day because they taste delicious and they're nourishing my body, at the same time. So there you go. I think that's it for tonight. I hope that this was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Put it in the Facebook group or comment below. I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well, to make sure that you all have access to it. And yeah, let me know if this was helpful and let me know if you had any additional questions, and see you guys next time.